I'm Scott Moss with North 40 Outfitters. I work in the camping department at the West Great Falls location. And a question I get fairly often is, how do I sleep outdoors? I sleep on a Tempur-Pedic at home, so the transition sounds difficult, but we have a lot of options to help you achieve your desired level of comfort and keeping weight in mind for a backpacking or horse packing or even, just vehicle-based camping. So Therm-A-Rest has a lot of options, and I only have about half of what we have downstairs sitting here right now. So we have everything from our super Mondos that are gonna be several inches thick, all the way going down to the good old classic Ridge Rest that's, just foam. It does its job, nothing fancy about it. And even the pillows nowadays they've come a long way from just balling up your hoodie and trying to sleep on that all night. So backpacking, weight is always a concern, but we want to have comfort as well. And that's one question that I get a lot is, how do I achieve comfort and balance my weight? Again, Therm-A-Rest makes that pretty easy by offering a 12-ounce sleeping pad that is this compact. And this also has one of their highest R-value ratings, meaning it's good for snow to, summertime, wherever you are. And it comes with a handy little inflation sack that you just make sure your valve's open, and then we clip this on. And so we don't have to sit here and huff and puff. We can carry on a conversation or, have other people talking to us about different things as we're inflating our mattress. So we just put that in there and fluff up our bag as much as we can. Boom, we're just about done there, right? So then we can add micro adjustments by blowing it up ourselves to our desired thickness. And you can see that's a fairly decent amount of cushioning. And if you're a side sleeper like me, that's important because you don't want to end up with your hips on the ground. So this guy gives us about 2 inches of loft, but I always carry the classic Ridge Rest to go underneath that, just as a puncture prevention. That air mattress will still have an insulative value even if there's a hole in it, and say you can't get it fully patched, you would want a backup system. And this makes a great chair, yoga mat. You want to just lay out during lunch beside a lake. You don't got to blow up your pad. You can throw this down on the rocks and take a nap out in the sunshine. So then next up in climbing the scales of weight is going to be the Neo Air Venture, and it's the same thing. It's a hollow mattress, meaning it differs from Therm-A-Rest's kind of their original designs, which were the self-expanding foam that relies on the foam for the inflation portion. But these you have to inflate yourself. But they now come with the inflation bags that you can just do that. So you don't have to get your gross chapstick mouth all over your sleeping pad because you've been hiking all day. And you can hold a conversation while you do it and you're not out of breath. So that would be the next step, but it goes down in the R value. So we're keeping an eye on where we're at in our insulative properties versus our weight. And obviously the less things weigh, usually the more they cost. So there are big price points in here, but we can always find a way to achieve both means. So that going down a little bit is the ProLite, which is their self-inflating model. So all we have to do is just kind of roll it out a little bit, and then we open our valve. And because this guy's been packaged for so long, the foam's compressed. So one point when you do buy these, buy them ahead of your trip and open the valve and just let them be open and inflate to their full capacity, because they have been in this compressed stage since manufacture date, right? So we want to be able to let this foam get back to its maximum amount of loft. So a good place to store it's under your bed, under the couch, some flat space where you and the dogs aren't walking all over it. So once we've done that, we'll have it, when the foam sort of regains its memory, then we'll be able to roll it back up, and then when it's only compressed for a few hours while we're on our way to the trailhead or wherever, and then we just open the valve and the foam expands, drawing in the air. You're still probably gonna have to make micro adjustments, especially if you set up and it's 70 degrees, then the temperature drops to 40. You might go into your tent and be like, well, why is my pad flat? Well, it's not flat. The air just changed temperature and then the volume changed. So you just gotta top it off a little bit right before bed. And that goes with any brand, any air mattress will have that problem with temperature fluctuations. So this guy's still brand new, so we're just gonna have to blow it up on our own here. And Therm-A-Rest did kind of a cool thing where they made all their valves the same. So they all accept these bags, and they've become user replaceable. They essentially have a small fitting here that you can change this valve should it become cracked or inoperable for some reason, then you can change it out. So you don't have to come back and spend a couple $100 on a new pad. So, partially inflated, or most of the way inflated, we're still only at 1 inch here. So we can top that off a little more, but if compactness and price are our two main things, I still recommend the ProLite, because it does roll up into a size where you can fit it inside your pack. I know I've personally popped a couple Therm-A-Rest when they used to only come, you know, sort of in this size, and you had to put it across your pack. You go bushwhacking down to your fishing hole or where you want to camp at to get to a new spot, and then all of a sudden you got a hole in your mattress because you were trying to get somewhere cool. So again, double it up with this, and that's going to be like, from my perspective, pretty comfortable. 12 years in the Marine Corps, sleeping on the ground will give you some perspective on relative comfort in the outdoors. So again, excellent price point and weight savings. And then, so the next one down, we're gonna be into the TrailLite. This guy is gonna be a little bit larger, but we'll get 1.5 inches total height once we're inflated, and a slightly better R value at 3.2, and then we'll be at 2.5 pounds for this guy. So again, if it weighs less, it costs more. So those are some pretty good examples of how to build a system. And I mean, I know guys that they thru hike and they're only sleeping on one of these because it won't go flat, and I've had one for decades now, so they're a staple in my pack for comfort. The other part of comfort is a pillow, right? This tiny little guy is gonna be able to give us good sleeping position. We're gonna be able to get our head off the ground. No more using your pack waist strap as your pillow or your old hoodie rolled up, when you can grab this guy at a mere 2.8 ounce weight penalty, if you will, to a rather large inflatable pillow. So we get this diameter, or this, you know, exterior measurement, and then we're gonna be 4 inches thick once we get her topped off. Right, so that's a nice little pillow. And then one little trick that I do is I take an extra layer, my extra fleece or whatever I'm not using, and I wrap it around it to give me that little pillowcase, so that again, you're sunscreen slathered oily face isn't all over your pillow, and after 5 or 6 uses it starts to look like a bar rag because you're sleeping on it with your sweaty head. So again, pillows go a long way for a very minimal space and weight savings. In the Airhead, their regular series, you have the large size is only that large, and it's a 7.5 ounces. It's still 4 inches thick, but we're gonna step up to, we're gonna be the same footprint as this, but it has a sort of attached cloth cover on it, so you don't need a pillowcase, but I always have a bandana or something that serves a first aid function, an emergency trail marking system, whatever I need it to be, whenever I need it to be it. So that's our lighter weight, packable designs. Also, Therm-A-Rest does a really good job when you get into what I refer to as the car camping, or say you own horses and you're packing in somewhere, or you're just converting your buddy's enclosed trailer into a hunting camp for the weekend or whatever. We're gonna start with the base camp series. So right out of the bag, and that's the other beautiful thing about Therm-A-Rest, is right here on the end of all their products, they give you the lowdown, the details right here. You're gonna get your weight, you're gonna get your thickness, you're gonna get your size, your R value, all of that right here on the end. And these are their sort of classic design, meaning they have the foam inside. So it's gonna come just like this, all wrapped up in plastic so that we can get as many as we can into one box. So when you buy it, again, get it home, nice climate controlled environment. And then we're gonna open up our valve and let that foam start to expand, and you'll see it wants to. This is what a Therm-A-Rest should do, right? It should just start rolling itself out and inflating its internal foam, which is gonna be your pad, and also ultimately aid with the inflation of the pad. So the base camp regular size is gonna be a 20 by 72. So, the average shoulder width to average height, but they make everything in 2 sizes at least, a regular and a long, or a large, and the same is true with their base camp model. So this is the base camp large, so it goes up to 25 wide and 77 long to accommodate larger footprints. So you can see this guy's doing its job, it's filling up, and again, when we buy it, we want to take it home, lay it flat, and it can be stood up against the wall behind the couch. It doesn't have to be underneath it. It just needs to be able to achieve its full length and expansion. So we could even have a couple of these stashed behind the couch for our friends who are known to pop by and stay the night. So that's the regular size. And then this is the base camp long. Then ultra comfort, talking about bringing the kitchen sink, we got the Mondo. This is the MondoKing 3D Double XL, right? This thing is big. This is a mattress in my world. So coming in at 4¼ inches thick when fully inflated, 5.5 pounds, 30 inches wide by 80 inches long. You pull 2 of these together, you got a queen mattress, and an R value of 7, right? You throw this on top of any old cheap cot and you're gonna be, sleeping like you're in a hotel. And one thing that I forgot to mention on these other bags is that they do have the inflation patch or fitting the same as the Ultralight models. So your storage bag is gonna double as your inflation tool. You're just gonna pop this little thing open and attach it to this guy, and we'll go ahead and slide her on out, and let's see how she wants to inflate for us. rolling. Just what we want to see. So underneath this, we have a small standard camp cot. And as you can see, it overhangs. So very large footprint, what did I say, 30 by 80. And you can see on the sides how it's stitched together. You can see that that's gonna be its total height. And we're still drawing air naturally. I don't have to put anything to it. I can walk away, go cut firewood, wrangle the kids, find the dog, drink a beer, whatever you want to do. And this thing's just doing its job in the tent, waiting for you to come back and crash out on it. Okay, so that's a pretty good overview of the offerings from Therm-A-Rest. If you have any more questions, come by your local North 40 or visit us at north40.com. Happy trails.